Good afternoon, everyone. I'm coming to you from my foyer, my home office, or as my good friend likes to call it, my atrium. My name is Ryan Van Leeuwen, and I'm a digital literacy and local history library technician with the Oxford County Library. And I'm just recording a short video today to talk about e-readers, e-ink, and answer just a few FAQs I've had about e-readers and people interested in getting e-readers over the past 6 weeks as they become increasingly more popular. So what an e-reader is and why I like it. I work on a computer all day, and even more so now over the last 6 weeks from 8 to 4 sitting in my atrium here on my computer working from home, staring at a blue light. And that really strains my eyes. I love to read, so when I leave my home office here and head into my house, I don't want to be looking at a screen to read. Now, an e-reader is nothing like that, which is why I love them. So what you're actually looking at is ink. How an e-reader works, you have a layer. I've actually got an e-reader here. I can just show you. So what you're looking at there is actual ink. An e-ink display. And what they mean by e-ink is they've taken ink and put them in microcapsules, and generalizing very much here. There are numerous YouTube videos on the specificity of e-ink and how it all works, which is just so fascinating. But just to generalize it, it's taken ink, put it in microcapsules, and put it in a liquid that each time you turn the page, the ink is rearranged through electromagnetic pulses. So I'm not sure if any of you remember the Etch-a-Sketch boards from when we were kids. You'd be able to draw something and then wipe the screen and it was clear. It's used very similar technology to that, in that it is e-ink, microcapsules of ink suspended in liquid that are rearranged with electromagnetic pulses each time you turn a page. So what you're actually looking at is ink. No blue light coming out at you. The pixels are made up of ink, which is just so cool. I can read on an e-reader for hours, for days. My eyes do not get strained from looking at an e-reader. Now, what is fascinating about this, the only drawback to a Kobo, to an e-reader, is you don't know how far you are in the book. So for that reason, I will always love physical books more, because you know how far you are in them. There's nothing like holding a physical book. But in the times that we live in today, an e-reader is a good second. So now that you sort of have an idea of how e-ink works by rearranging the ink through electromagnetic pulses, we'll move on to the e-reader compatibility within Canadian libraries. So there are 2 e-readers compatible with Canadian libraries, 2 popular e-readers. There are more. I'm just going to cover 2 today. The first would be the most popular, of course, the Kobo, that is compatible with Canadian libraries. And the second is the Onyx. The Onyx is an up-and-coming e-reader. I'll touch on that in just a moment. One side note, one of the most popular e-readers on the market is the Kindle e-reader, Amazon's Kindle. And I'm sure everyone's heard of the Kindle e-reader. And the reason I'm not covering that today is Kindle is not compatible with Canadian libraries. So it has been made compatible with American library systems, but it has not been made compatible with Canadian library systems. So for that reason, I won't be talking about Kindle today. Just to touch briefly, so the Onyx e-reader, they have the Onyx book note, and this e-reader runs Android. And what that means is you have access to the full Android application store, loading any of our e-resource platforms, Hoopla, Access 360, Freeding, they're not coming to my mind at the moment, Libby, Overdrive, all our e-reading platforms. They can be loaded there, and you can read these books on this e-reader since you're loading apps. Now, word of warning, the Onyx, because it runs Android and you'll be side-loading these apps in, it is a little more difficult to use. There's a lot of options. So it's far more complex than your typical e-reader. Use that as a word of caution. Moving on to Kobos. Now, the Kobos have done a fantastic job with their e-reader. The eReader runs Linux, a modified version of Linux, and they've had years to hone the skill of an e-reading platform to provide you with the best experience, and they really do. I'm so pleased with the Kobo. And just recently, well, I say recently, but about 2 years ago, let's say September 2018, Kobo integrated Overdrive directly within the eReader. So what that meant was before September 2018, you needed a degree in computer engineering to access ebooks. It wasn't that difficult, but it was still some hoops to jump through. Downloading a book, transferring it over, it was complicated. A large part of my daily job before September 2018 was helping people just transfer a book onto their e-reader. And that was frustrating, both for them and for me, that this process had to be so complicated. So Kobo stepped up and they completely integrated the Overdrive platform, our e-reading platform, Overdrive, which uses our collection from the Ontario Library Download Centre. They completely integrated that collection within the Kobo. What that means is now if you go to our Overdrive platform, the Ontario Library Download Centre website, and borrow a book, all you have to do is hit sync and it appears on here. It's brilliant. I love this system. That's not to say it's not without hiccups. And over the last 6 weeks, I have been answering emails and helping people figure out why maybe a book didn't load or something like that didn't work out. There are certainly glitches in every system, but in comparison with what we used to have to do with downloading and transferring a book over, which was just so incredibly difficult, the new system with just borrowing a book and then syncing it to your Kobo, you just hit one button on your Kobo and the book should download there. I'm in love with. So that's it. There you have it. E-readers, Kobos, and the Onyx. Let me know your thoughts. Comment below, and we'll do our best to answer them below. Thank you very much for watching. Until next time.